A very lovely evening to you, dearest viewers. I am happy to invite you once more into my lighthouse, where we have an incredible session with today's poet. In our studio, we have visual poet and artist Alexandra Psaropoulou, accompanied by poet and musician Henry Lowman for an unforgettable, one-of-a-kind experience.
The flying is high. The flying is high. The flying is the highest. It lasts forever. Take me on the turquoise horse, over the hayfields, into the sun, forever. High mountains, flying right, no crash landing. Deep ravines, rivers flowing, eagles above, taking me on the turquoise horse. Love, freedom, poetry. If you can accept the windings of my mind, if you can trust the reality of my fantasy, living in the strange wonders and genuine pleasures of this world and other worlds, living where fantasy and reality merge, following the intuition and the intuitions of the past, following the invisible and the visible, lying by the sea, under the olive tree, open and ready, it's all changing. Don't think hard of the ghosts of the past, where energy is rewarded, where life gives it all. At 14 and 16, they prepared me for you, taking me on the turquoise horse, to the wild flowers, into the wind and fire, forever. The flying is high. The flying is high. The flying is the highest. It is absolute. Golden cords connecting us. Golden cords surrounding us. Like the sparkling sunlight on the blue sea. Like the sparkling sun waves on the sea sand. Divine help divine forces flowing in, our vibrations riding over the waves of life, bravely crossing all barriers, singing a magnetizing melody on a hypnotizing journey, turning the dark into light, turning the wrong into right. Knowing we can be free, knowing we are free. Free from all negative energy, free from all negative experiences. Golden cords connecting us, golden cords guiding us. Like glowing strands intertwining along our paths, like glowing strands showing us our paths. Divine help, divine forces flowing in, our vibrations, our energies, whirling, twirling, wings of the universe dancing freely between us, forming our world, forming the worlds around us, turning the dark into light, turning the imbalance into balance, knowing we can be free, knowing we are free, free from all lower sexual desires, free from all lower sexual encounters, golden cords connecting us, golden cords attaching us. Like two radiant flames dancing together, like two radiant soul flames flying together. Divine help, divine forces flowing in, our vibrations allowing us free to choose our own experiences, our own perceptions, allowing us free to move on, leaving old energies behind, trusting that everything will be renewed, trusting that everything is being renewed, turning the dark into light, turning the non-understandable into understandable, knowing we can be free, knowing we are free, free from all detrimental patterns, free from all detrimental beliefs, golden cords connecting us, golden cords nurturing us, like a family wonderfully bonding, like butterflies fluttering in spring. Divine help, divine forces flowing in, our highest vibrations, our highest energies, whirling, twirling, drifting freely on the currents of the universe, transforming our world, transforming the worlds around us. turning the dark into light, turning the non-believing into believing, knowing we can be free, knowing we are free, free from all worry and struggle, free from all misconception and doubt. Golden cords connecting us, golden cords uniting us, like the sacred heart flame, like the sacred soul flame. Divine help, divine forces flowing in. Our vibrations, strong and tender, taking us up our sweet magical worlds. Strong and tender, taking us up our sweet blessed worlds. Knowing that our visions will come true, knowing that our visions are coming true. Turning the dark into light, turning the unhealthy into healthy. Knowing we can be healed, knowing we are healed. Healed from all bitterness and pain, healed from all hopelessness and regret. Only golden cords connecting us, only golden cords inspiring us. Expecting magic, expecting blessings, expecting flying. My visions are my torture. My visions are my comfort. Turquoise visions, turquoise flying. For those whose hearts are not tired of sowing in the field of dreams. For the journey is bittersweet, half hurt, half tenderness. Like thorny milk thistle, like sweet smelling jasmine. Accepting variety and different behaviors. Going beyond wrongdoings and right doings. Into new and more thriving harvests. My visions are my scrambling ascent. My visions are my sacred conquest. Turquoise visions, turquoise flying. For those whose hearts can admire the phosphorescent hopes of the sunset. For the journey is rugged, half uphill, half downhill. Like bare time in the winter cold, like bees gathering nectar from spring blossoms, evoking the rain's lament and the sun's caress, going beyond unpleasant and pleasant reactions onto new and even higher peaks. My visions are my futile mirages. My visions are my sweetest oases. Turquoise visions, turquoise flying. For those whose hearts are refreshing fountains of muses' songs, for the journey is uncharted. Half tempest, half tranquility, like a wavy, turbulent sea on a windy day, like crystal, serene waters under the shimmering sun, sailing over low and high tides, going beyond traumatic and fond memories into new and longed for harbors. My visions are my lightning duty. My visions are my radiant basking. Turquoise visions, turquoise flying. For those whose hearts shine brightly through storms. For the journey is evolving, half empirical, half innate, seeing what I encounter, seeing what I know, painting the world in dark and iridescent hues, going beyond detrimental and beneficial beliefs into new and more exquisite rainbows. Our visions are our unmanifested ashes. Our visions are our golden wings. Golden visions, golden flying.
That was an incredibly moving and amazing performance. Good evening once more, faithful Poets Lighthouse viewers. I am poet and writer from the San Francisco Bay Area, Finn Bell, bringing you the 17th episode of our second season. Tonight, we are honored to have in our virtual living room Alexandra Psaropoulou, with Henry Lowman providing his genius musical support. Welcome to both of you. So a little bit about, hello, well, so a little bit about Alexandra. Alexandra was born in the year of the Horse of Fire in Greece, where she spent many years living in the wild mountains of the island of Hydra. I love that. Later, she attended St. Mary's in Wiltshire and studied European thought and literature at Anglia Ruskin in Cambridge. She lived in Paris and New York before returning to Greece to settle. Her father was a renowned poet and author and had a successful publishing company in Greece. Her mother was a ballet dancer, as well as the president of the dance union in Greece. Alexandra's family's social circles, ever since she was a little girl, has been rich with artists, writers, and academics. She currently lives with her husband, a classical guitar soloist, and four children, near the Temple of Poseidon, Su- near the Temple of Poseidon, Sunia, by the sea, and published her own visual poems on Amazon. Each of Alexandra's books is a symphony composed of a long poem accompanied by her graphic illustration that convey the flying. Alexandra and Henry, what an unbelievable thrill for you to be with us here in the studio today. So, first question, I'm going to get right into it. It's been my pleasure on two previous occasions to experience this astounding multisensory phenomena that is your performing, your visual art. Every aspect of it, the visual, the auditory, that eventually cause you to feel this actual sensations, additional tactile sensations such as the wind of the butterfly's wings created in flight, or the taste of a salty, tangy sea, or even dark turning into light. This brings what can best be described as a perfect union, a marriage of mediums perfectly complementing each other. Do you believe that these elements can just as successfully be consumed without one another?
Do you mean the natural elements or the
Yes,
performance? Yeah.
the elements of how you composed the visual art as well as the words that accompany it, and now with the addition of having um, Henry's music as
Okay, no, they're inseparable. When I have always illustrated my poems, so first I write the poem, I rewrite it for a long time, make sure I it's ready, and
Mhm.
then I illustrate it. I have never written a poem without illustrating it. So the words and the images are inseparable. However, only recently that I started doing the poetry readings on the open mics, I heard Henry playing his balalaika, and I thought, wouldn't it be lovely to have an accompaniment of music to the poetry reading and make it a full multimedia, visual, acoustic with reading? And happily, Henry consented and has made a wonderful project along the way. And it was really quite an experience. Every time that we did it, it was something different. And I'm pretty new to open mics and reading online,
Mhm.
and so yeah, I feel that the musical accompaniment has really enriched the whole experience.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel that every performance, even though it would be the same set of poems, they we arrive at them differently, or Henry's accompaniment arrives at them differently, and they become a brand new experience every single time. A poetry and visual snowflake that has its nuances, and it's not, no two ones are the same. Henry, did you want to add anything additional to that from your point of the experience?
No, I think Alexandra explained it quite succinctly.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I know we want to continue this wonderful conversation with our two amazing guests, but first we must go on a short break. And when we return, we continue this wonderful conversation. We are so happy to be back from the break. And here with us, our lovely guest, visual poet and author of the Flying series, Alexandra Psaropoulou.
Uh,
Hi there. So, living just a stone's throw away from the Temple of Poseidon, just it's causing so many images in my brain. I have these visions in my head of this paradise of sea and sun and sky. Do you feel that your physical surroundings become these muses that get automatically embedded into your poetry and graphic art?
Definitely, my natural surroundings are part of my feelings and poem and the images that I use both in my words and in my designs, definitely. Yes.
Hmm. And you said a while ago that the words come before the image. Do the words arrive? I mean, do the images arrive as the words are coming, or do you form these whole thoughts and then the thoughts become the words and then the images come much afterward? What is the process? If you could
Well,
walk us through that a little bit.
first of all, is the primary inspiration, the main theme, the main seed of the poem, which will then germinate slowly. And then there's a gestation period where I'm molding the poem, and that will take quite some time
Mm,
until I go through quite a lot of words and thoughts, and I really have to um, get it right, get the right feeling. I have a certain theme every time,
okay.
and I really have to work through the pattern of the poem in order for every word to convey exactly the message and the feeling that I want.
Mhm.
And then after I have completed the words, and the entire poem has the cadence, the musical rhythm, the cadence, and the message that I want, then I'm going to come in with my illustrations, which is a whole set of patterns again, which are following the words, and that's just like a whole new poem again, like the illustrations. And believe me, it's quite a lot of work. It's not overnight. It could take up to
I can
months.
imagine.
Yeah.
I can
Of
imagine.
yeah.
That truly is such a work of art that it takes the time and the care in this world of everything automatic, instant, arriving within a day, and we're so impatient. The beauty of
Yeah.
slowing down that rhythm to to find the exact right thing that needs to be said, to convey everything you wanted to convey, and to find that balance. That's what speaks to me about your poems, is that the the brevity of the words, but then in them such an impact, and you feel, if this makes any sense, the silence in between, that punctuates both the words that you say, and the music that now Henry uses as the an additional tool to enhance the experience. And prior to the interview itself, we were talking. You were talking about your process and having this trance-like quality. That is also conveyed, I believe, at least for me, hearing you share these pieces.
Well, Claude Debussy said something which Miles Davis picked up on. I think Claude Debussy's comment was the silences are more important than the notes on the page. And Miles Davis said something like, it's not what you play, it's what you don't play
Mm,
that's important. And I've sort of adapted it to the spoken word concept of it's not the words, it's the spaces between the words, because in a way that also applies. The spaces between the words are like a rest on a musical staff, and you, as the reader, can determine how long those spaces will be or how long those separations between lines would be. But sometimes you want to allow yourself that space, that silence, to allow the flavor of the words to
Oh, yes.
settle on the tongue.
Oh, yes. And that heightened anticipation that you're finding in between those spaces just magnifies that the consumption of what comes next. It's an automatic bridge to say, okay, I'm ready to receive, and I'm fully open to receive what's coming next within that span of that silence. So
Right, but also the silences are important, especially in the current zeitgeist, where we have so much stimuli around us wherever we go. For example, in the lobby of the building that I'm sitting in, they have a big TV screen and it's on a news channel. So you have that stimulus because that's bombarding you. You go outdoors and you have the stimulus of traffic and all of the stuff that's encroaching on what was originally here, which is nature. And within nature, of course, there are the silences.
yes.
And it's important to bring some of that quality back into one's own experience. Allow oneself to embrace that moment.
Yes, that is a surprisingly something I learned this year. You are not the only one to have reflected that, and I've been blessed to have other very wise poets and artists come on the show and talk about, specifically about how important the silence is. Thank you for that, Alexandra and Henry. So, the flying. The flying is the title of your series. And just those two words capture the imagination all by themselves. Where did this come from? Where did the whole idea of calling it the Flying series?
The flying started with a vision that I had in 2001, which was very intense and lasted with me. Its vibrations lasted with me for a long time. And I literally felt like I was half in this world and half somewhere else, flying in the universe and not on drugs or anything. And so, and that's how the first poem came about.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, the poems have evolved together with the images, but I have always felt that I have been receiving, or I've been inspired to this flying, which is basically an upliftment of the soul, and my desire is simply to uplift and empower through the energy that I'm giving through the poems, these visual poems. And this is a whole new medium right now that I have gotten into since November with the musical accompaniment, making it a multimedia effect of musical reading and visual sort of dimensions all together. And yeah, it's just something entirely new which happened because of the pandemic. And suddenly all the poets are zooming and connecting globally.
Yes.
And so, yeah, this is all quite new. Just meeting Henry and adding the music to, to bring forth. I think this whole thing adds to the energy of the poem.
It
But
does.
back to your original question, the
Mhm.
flying did start from a vision, which I have at times. Yeah.
That is so beautiful. And when you augmented that with saying about, you know, what the vibrations spoke to you about, that was profound, and that really did speak directly to me.
Is that okay? I have a very soft voice.
Yeah, no, that's okay by me. For me, I believe the more softer energy and the softer voice does draw people in. There was this famous person who said something about scent. It shouldn't be overpowering, and if you only place one dab behind your ear, it causes the person to be more engaged in wanting to know more about you just based on that. You don't have to be like splashing yourself. I feel the same applies to when you're speaking. Um, it draws people in more to want to know you without you having to bullhorn it. I appreciate that. Um, okay, one last question and we close up. So we're all set. So I want both of you to just close your eyes for a moment and contemplate this final question of ours. So let's all close our eyes. I'm breathing in. So this question is posed to both of you. What comes after that pure sensation and freedom of flight?
Transcendence.
Mm,
It could also be a transfiguration. Um, it could take many forms, really. Um, that's my immediate response to that question.
yes.
I wanted to add something to what we presented today.
Okay.
Um, Alexandra's words take on, and her images take on her presentation of this
Mm-hmm.
has a certain synesthetic quality to it. And that's what that was my aim at any rate, was to, in as transparent a way as possible, to complement that feeling and add to the synesthetic experience, multisensory experience.
Yes. And you absolutely do. I feel, you know, how intuitively and how closely you are experiencing that. You're experiencing the synesthesia because the way that you anticipate how the feeling of her words are translated into your music is this beautiful thing to behold.
Well, it's like any collaborative endeavor or art.
Hmm.
Since we're in the artistic endeavor here, it's all about listening, and really, collaboration is just a conversation.
Hmm.
Really, and you can look at it that way, and it's all based on listening and picking up on the details of what's being said or what's being played, and then seeing whether or not it's the right time to add something to it. You have to ask yourself that question, and I'm not as skilled in that as I should be. Trying to get better at it, but the idea is honoring necessity and knowing when to assume the virtue.
Mm. You said so many just beautiful things. I want a workshop. I want a Henry Lowman workshop on that. I'm serious. Alexandra, what came to you during that moment of silence?
Um, well, after the flying experience and the inspiration, have after I've created the work and the vibrations linger on for a while, and I'm still kind of reveling in the vibrations. Eventually, as they fade out, then I just want to fly again. And so then I, and then I just want to. I'm waiting for the next flight, for the next inspiration,
Waiting for the next flight. Oh,
and and then I'm just like, where is it? When's it coming? And then I get the first spark, and I'm like, okay, I've got the first seed of the first flash there, and which is going to be the main theme of the next flight. That always comes first,
okay.
and then I'm just sort of really into the next flight, and I'm off again into the vibrations and emotions of that,
Mhm.
and then when it's finished, I just want to share it and hope that everyone else will also feel the energy of the flying.
Absolutely. We look forward to it, and exciting. I'm excited about the surprise of that answer. Going straight into just having that pause and then going into the next flight. I honestly didn't expect that to be the answer, and but then now that you said it, I can't imagine it any other way. I'm looking forward to that happening and many more flights to come.
Well, in Greek, Psaropoulou,
Mhm.
Psari means fish and Pouli means bird. So I'm
Oh my goodness,
a flying fish bird.
flying fish. Yeah, that's. Thank you so much, Alexandra. Thank you so much, Henry. Um, I want to thank you so much for being here, for taking this time. This was a special, experience. I can't. I'm going to be spending time after this, contemplating and absorbing it, and truly taking it in, because this was just immense. And for having to say something cliche, it just transcended so much that is mundane, and we need that. um,
It took flight.
there you go. It absolutely
I
took flight.
I would like to really, really thank Henry for coming along on these flights with me and joining in with his music. And it was really a wonderful experience. And if he ever wants to fly with me again, I'm, and I'm always here.
There you go. That
It was
is
really, really wonderful. It happens just totally, I don't know, maybe the angels planned it or something.
some of the best things just happen that way. And we are there to listen to it, and and heed it.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to take it the further to the further point.
Yeah,
I don't,
There's a Jimi Hendrix song on that theme that's going through my head right now as I'm sitting here.
Are you want to share a little bit more on that?
I'm trying to remember the title of it, but it's the melody and it's the line about an angel in flight.
right.
Hmm.
I
But
heard
I
it
don't,
recently, and yeah, he was a very spiritual guy, and a lot of people may not be aware of it. I mean, if you really dig into the lyrics and the music, I
Mhm.
mean, oh yeah, it's all over that.
Mm.
but I
So
don't think
I'm getting a little bit of Jimmy in me now. Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah.
A little bit of Jimmy.
I don't think you're a musician in Virginia expected to be playing with a poet from Greece. I think it kind of
And that is the rare blessing right there of, there hasn't been very much to look forward to, and having, to do these Zoom things by necessity, but look what came out of it. Look at
Well,
the collaborations and the pairings.
yeah.
we figure out a way of all right. We figure out a way of engaging in a different way. So there's been a lot of negativity these past 2+ years,
Hmm.
in the world happening with this pandemic
Yeah.
and everything. And there are two things that came out of it that were actually quite positive. And one of those was the fact that people were brought, whether they acknowledged it to themselves or not, they were brought into the here and now, which is really the place where you want to be, because that's really the only place where life truly exists, is in the here and the now, not yesterday and not tomorrow, because yesterday is already done.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people that are out there waving signs and talking their nonsense, you got to get over that. That was yesterday. We've got to see where we're moving. And forward momentum is always the best choice to make.
Yes.
And yet you want to be in the present moment, because the present moment is really, if you really are engaged in the present moment, you're fully experiencing what life is really offering you. The second thing that came out of this was the fact that it opened up possibilities. I mean, this collaboration came out of an aim of approaching a possibility and seeing where it might lead. And what we have now, what we basically have today experienced, is something which is going on many halls like this. People are able to connect and to engage with others that are a great distance away. I mean, 20 years ago, we couldn't do this. I don't think 10 years ago we could have done this.
Yeah.
But we're doing it now, and we're able to do it in real time. And we've been able to keep the community, whatever that community may be, alive through this medium here. And so that's a positive.
It is. Absolutely.
The Greeks have a saying, "Uven kako ameges kalu," which means that there is never any evil without goodness, without something good coming out of it.
There's always the balance that's necessary.
Yeah.
There's a crack in everything. The cracks let the light in.
Yeah.
Very wise words of Leonard Cohen.
That goes back to, I don't know who, to credit the, just like what Alexandra said, there really is no good without the presence of evil. It intensifies that knowledge of the existence and the appreciation of the fact that there is good, because the necessary evil that happens on the other side of it.
Yeah, but my philosophy is that we should, at this point in the timeline of this brief period that we've been on this planet, be able to transcend that, take flight from that.
Amen to that. Well, I would love to continue this beautiful discussion indefinitely. If we had a show that allowed us to do several hours, unfortunately we don't. But you guys are welcome to come onto the show again at any time. Let's do this again. I want to thank both of you again, both of my splendid guests, Alexandra, Henry, for your musical accompaniment that you had blessed us with. You just blessed us with this whole performance, this whole experience. We are richer for it. Please find out more about where you can get copies of Alexandra's book, The Flying, Series 1 through 9, at her website, alexandrabooks.info/, as well as where you could find updates on her spectacular performance itinerary by going to her Linktree /Alexandra Books. Please also follow Henry as well on henrylowman.bandcamp.com. Follow everything as usual, Poetry Global Network, by taking a look at our newly minted webpage, poetryglobalnetwork.com. And as always, all our unique programming can be found on PGN's YouTube channel, where you are viewing this Poets Lighthouse right now. So please, at the bottom, subscribe, like, and comment below. Have a beautiful weekend.